We are going to eat you. That is the tagline to Zombie 2, also known in the United States as Zombie. I first became aware of Zombie. I remember seeing the image of the poster, that famous poster with the zombie known as Worm Eye. In the back pages of an issue of Fangoria, it was an ad. It might have been some kind of horror video mail order catalog, type of ad. And I remember seeing the image of Zombie, the poster, and I just remember being so transfixed by that image. It's like, just seeing Worm Eye, that zombie, that gross, ghastly looking zombie, with the fucked up eye, with the worms in it, it looking like thoroughly decomposed. You got the big red letters, that spells out zombie. And then you got that memorable tagline, "We are going to eat you." And I remember being so disturbed by that tagline and by the image. And it just from that point forward, that image of zombie and just zombie itself, I guess, was forever like emblazoned, into my consciousness. At the time, I didn't know that Zombie was a theatrical release. I thought maybe possibly it could have been a straight-to-video horror film. I wasn't sure at the time. All I just knew that there was another zombie film out there that was actually called Zombie, and that I had to see it at some point. I had what I thought was my first chance to see Zombie at the same video store where I rented Day to Dead for the first time. But for some reason, I don't know. I thought maybe we did try to rent the film. Or maybe I don't know. I saw it was there and thinking like I'll rent it next time. I'm not 100% sure why I didn't rent it or for whatever reason. But yeah, there was a possible opportunity there, but it just didn't happen. And we would have to wait for the next year to finally see Zombie. And when I finally did see Zombie, my impression of the film was mixed when I finally saw it. In terms of the gore, because I knew ahead of time this is a film that was quite gory. I remember looking at the back of Zombie, and just seeing like how graphic that it was. Like there was some graphic imagery. I think maybe one of the scenes was maybe when the character Susan, gets her throat torn out. I could be mistaken about that, but I remember seeing at least one graphic image, and just knowing about Zombie's reputation through reading stuff, I knew it was going to be a gory film, and I got a gory film. A really gory film, particularly for me at that point. It's like, now if I saw a Zombie for the first time, it wouldn't do anything to me in terms of gore. I'm just so desensitized. But yeah, at the time I thought the movie was incredibly graphic. Zombie was the first film ever in which I saw a scene and I thought I was going to throw up. Like the actual sensation of that I was going to throw up. And I actually ran to the bathroom because I thought I was just gonna, hurl, and I just need to go ahead and make sure that I was covered and not throw up on the floor. I didn't throw up. I didn't even have any come into my throat, but I did feel the sensation. And the scene that made me do that, and the only scene in anything to make me do that, not that I haven't seen scenes before that, churned my stomach, but not to the point where I actually thought I needed to go ahead and run to the bathroom, because I thought I was going to throw up or something. And yeah, it was the scene where Dr. Menard's wife was like, this is after she's killed. This is when our main cast of characters, Ian, oh, God, I forgot his name all of a sudden, but the lead actor. And then, the core cast of characters, they arrive at Dr. Maynard's house, to go ahead and check in on his wife. And she is dead. And she's being, like, her body is being consumed by zombies in an incredibly, like, detailed, gross manner. And the scene that particularly did it for me is when one of the corpses, the walking corpses, went ahead and they grabbed, like, an innard from Menard's, deceased wife, and the way they just pull it out from like her torso section, and it just looks so real, and it just nasty. Yeah, just you know, and yes, just in terms of gore, the film delivered. In other areas, not quite. Now, I love the film Zombie now, but when I first saw it, I thought the story itself was, it was just, just standard fare. Like, the characters, for the most part, didn't really do anything for me. The story didn't really do anything for me. I didn't think it was terrible, but I thought it was pretty lukewarm. In fact, at times I thought Zombie was dull, and maybe even a moment or two boring. Like particularly the first half of the film, like all that stuff before the zombies really start causing chaos. I just thought was it's okay, it's fine, and like intercut with like moments of like awesomeness, like the zombie versus shark scene. That is definitely a scene for the cinematic ages. And there's other scenes too, like here and there, that really stand out. Like, of course, the opening of the film, like always, was engaged by that, and then the scene on the boat, that's by the New York skyline. And there were other good scenes as well here and there, but overall, like I thought Zombie, at least during the first half, and even a good deal into the second half, was like, I don't know, like I just wasn't fully feeling it. But once the zombie chaos ensued, yeah, I was definitely on with it all. With it, I was definitely with it all the way from that point forward, all the way to the fantastic end. Like the ending of the film, I always adored. Like that is one of the greatest endings of all time. It's just it's downright masterful. It's it's just one of the best horror endings ever. Just one of the best endings to a film. Period. Just I don't know, I could go on and on and on about that ending. But yeah, most of the film, like I just wasn't really a big fan of. It definitely was in one hand, it was worthwhile, but on the other hand, it was like disappointing. And yeah, I was glad that I saw it, but I didn't have any intention of seeing it again. And I thought I would never see it again until the very next year. I had accidentally rented Zombie 2 without knowing I had rented Zombie 2 or Zombie. So I didn't know about the whole multiple zombie, like I don't know what you call it, like basically the films with the name Zombie but are not related at all in terms of like being like a one franchise. Like I didn't know about that. I thought there was only one film named Zombie at that point. I did not know that the first film to actually be called Zombie was actually George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. At the time, I wasn't aware that Dawn of the Dead outside the U.S. in certain territories was called Zombie. So that was the first zombie film that had just the one-word title, Zombie. Because of course, he had White Zombie before, all those decades before. And then you have Lucio Fulci's Zombie, which the actual title is Zombie 2, because supposedly the story is that the people who were involved with making Zombie 2, or at least releasing Zombie 2, they want to go ahead and ride on the coattails of Dawn of the Dead. Zombie 2 was an Italian production, and in Italy, Dawn of the Dead is known as Zombie. So to basically go ahead and piggyback on the success of Dawn of the Dead, we're going to go ahead and say that Zombie 2 is unofficial sequel to Zombie, George Romero's Dawn of the Dead. I'm hoping not confusing anybody. And so, and it worked. At least in part it worked anyway, because Zombie 2 was a massive success everywhere, particularly abroad. So Zombie 2 was the unofficial sequel, well, at least entitled to Zombie, but I didn't know that at the time. So basically, when I went ahead and the following year after seeing Zombie, I had saw Zombie 2. and I did not know they were one and the same. And it had a different cover. It didn't have the same cover as, you know, the famous Warm Eye poster cover. So I'm like, oh shit, there's a sequel to Zombie. And even though I wasn't the biggest fan of Zombie, it's a zombie film. I have to rent it. Like to this day, like if it's a zombie film with rare exceptions, I will at least take a look at it. Like I'm really obsessed with zombies. And so I didn't know anything about Zombie 2. I just saw it. Well, of course, I did. But anyway, so basically, just I went in the video store. I saw a video that said Zombie 2. Didn't bother looking in the back and reading what it was about. Had I had done that, I would have realized that, hey, wait a minute, this has the same plot as Zombie. And probably the images would have been the same. Like images that came from the film. But I just saw the cover, rented it. I was excited to see it. Oh boy. And then when I put in the cassette to Zombie 2, I saw the opening credits and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I see the opening credits and they're the exact same credits to Zombie. Lucio Fulci Zombie. I'm like, what is this shit? Like, no, 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 no. And I went ahead and I fast forward through the movie, like that's some kind of mistake, I don't know. And I was seeing that everything that followed the credits was exactly the same sequence of events that happened inside Lucio Fulci Zombie. Fast forward all the way to the end, and it was the famous ending of Zombie, which I love so much. But that was not the ending that I wanted to see to this film, because I wanted to see Zombie 2, not Zombie. And I just was like baffled, like what the fuck, like what is this? Like, were we given the wrong film? Like what is this? And yeah, at the time I was mystified. I'm like, what happened here? And later on, I come to find out about the whole just like crazy thing with all these films, these different films called like I think there's at least 8 of them. I don't know. I think there's more than that to have like the title Zombie, like Zombie 1, 2, 3, 4, and yet none of them are related. None of them are sequels to the other. Even the one that was made by Fulci is not an actual sequel to his own film. It's just a mess. Like they, you know, I already did a review. Well, you know, a retrospective, whatever. Like giving my thoughts on Zombie 3 last year, and yeah, so there's like Zombie, the Romero film, Zombie 2, which is also known as Zombie, the Fulci film. There's Zombie 3, which was partially directed by Fulci, and then there's Zombie 4 After Death, and then there's Zombie 5 Killing Birds, and then there's a Zombie 6, and I think there's a 7, there's 8, and I think there's other ones too. And like it's just a crazy, confusing mess. But yeah, like yeah, I was furious though. I was furious that Zombie 2 didn't actually exist, or that Zombie 2 did actually exist, but I had seen it before because it was Zombie 1. And yeah, like I said before, I wasn't a big fan of Zombie, and I didn't even bother even watching it when like watching Zombie 2 because I had seen it before and I wasn't impressed. And this would go on for some time, and this was like later. This is toward the late '90s, and I had bought a horror film, and the horror film that I bought had like a trailer to Zombie, Lucio Fulci Zombie, and I was really impressed with the trailer, and it made me just like think like, maybe I should give this film one more chance. Like I don't know, like you know, as soon as I get a chance, I'll give it one more chance. You know, like and maybe on the third try, you know, the film will finally click. You know. And so, not long after, we got ourselves a copy of Zombie 2. Yeah, we saw it again, and we absolutely loved it. Like every bit of it, I was like thinking like how I did not know the full greatness of this film. I knew there was definitely like bits of greatness, pieces of greatness with Lucio Fulci's masterpiece. I do consider Zombie to be a masterpiece. But like I don't know, just sometimes you maybe just need to mature or whatever, or just look at a film with open eyes. I don't know. The third time it clicked, and yeah, like I adore Zombie. Like Zombie is one of my favorite films of all time. It's up there with the Romero, the original Dead trilogy, Return of the Living Dead, as my favorite zombie films of all time. Like after like my favorite non-Romero zombie film is Return of the Living Dead, and then after that I would say Zombie 2 is my favorite zombie film of all time that's not by George Romero, at least in regards to the original Dead trilogy. The reasons I love Zombie are many, but I'm gonna narrow it down to some. The cast, like I'm a really big fan of the cast. Like the characters, like my favorite character of all of them is Brian. Brian, who is played by Al Cliver. I don't know what it is about Brian. Like, I don't know. Like, usually I can articulate why I like a character so much. I'm having a bit of a challenge here, but yeah, I don't know. Just maybe because he's just cool or just so matter of fact. Just laid back. I don't know. It's just a laid back guy. Just doing his thing, trying to help these people out. Trying to get them to the island by way of his boat. And just a normal everyday guy, and also he gets thrusted into a not so normal everyday situation, and he does the best he can. And I don't know, just I just think he's awesome. I think the other characters are awesome too. Another one of my favorite characters, actually. Actually, Brian is tied with. Actually, no, he might be my favorite character. Actually, Lucas. Lucas, who is played by Dakar, like he's just. Everybody say something like Brian, just everyday man, trying to do his thing. He gets thrust in a, not so everyday situation, and again, he does the best he can. And yeah, I just love both those characters. And yeah, I like the other characters in the movie too. Particularly also like Dr. Maynard, even though he's like kind of a piece of shit, but he's interesting, he's intriguing. And yeah, like the cast is great. The special effects by Giannato De Rossi are great. The score by Fabio Frizzi is just dynamite. Like it is just it's just absolutely exceptional. A really perfect horror score. It is just so haunting and atmospheric and pulsating. It's just perfect, absolutely perfect. The special effects by Gianetto De Rossi is ghoulishly great. They're just really just the stuff of nightmares. And the special effects still hold up really well, all these decades later. The script by Elisa Briganti and Dardano Sacchetti is really well structured and written. And of course, the direction by the godfather of gore, Lucio Fulci, is legendary work. There is no zombie movie quite like this one. It is just really something special and really something just great. Lucio Fulci has directed a number of standout films in his incredible body of work. I have watched Zombie in a multitude of ways. I have watched it on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K. I have even seen Zombie in a theater. I had saw a revival of Zombie back in 2008. It was the last showing, actually, in terms of a revival. There was this place called, I think it was Two Boots Theater or Two Boots Pizza. I don't know, something. I think it was like a pizza place and a movie theater, and it was the last film they ever showed because the place had closed down shortly after that. And it was an amazing experience watching Zombie with the crowd, particularly watching the infamous scene with the eye and a splinter of wood. And that scene like fucked me up when I first saw that scene. And the crowd's reaction to that scene and the whole movie was really heartening. Yeah, and I just seen Zombies so many times in so many ways. And I will continue to keep on watching Zombie over and over and over again. And Zombie is just one of the greatest zombie films of all time. It's one of the greatest films, period. And yeah, Zombie is the shit. It just goes to show you that, or it goes to show me that you can never tell what film will eventually become one of your favorites of all time. It might be a film that you love from the jump, or it might be a film that you have mixed feelings about. You just never know, which films will have an impact on you.